Hello my friends, today we're learning about Basra Daf Kuf Lamed Vav. We're going to start from the Mishnah. Before we start from the Mishnah, I'm going to explain what the Rashbam explains. That the Mishnah is talking about a man who wants to marry a second woman, and he has sons from his first woman, but he doesn't want that these nechosim that he has will be meshubed for the second woman. He's scared that he's going to pass away, and the second woman will take them for ksuva, etc. So he wants to give it to his kids from his first wife. The issue is, if he gives it to his kids from his first wife, he won't have it. So he wants a solution that he should eat the fruit until he passes away. So it says a Mishnah, Akoisev nechosav lebonov tzorich sheichtoi me'ayoim u'la'achar misa diver Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yosi oima einoi tzorich. So the Mishnah says that someone who wants to do this solution, that he should have the Paris until he passes away. So he has to write that he's giving the present to his kids from today and after Misa, meaning that from today the Kinyan Aguf will go over to the kids, the right in the actual land, but the Paris, the right for the fruit, should stay his until he passes away. That's Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yosi holds you don't need to do that, and we're going to see in the Gemara why. Continue the Mishnah. Koitzev nechosav lebnoi לאחר מויסוי, האב אינו יכול למכור לפני שהם כסובים לבן, והבן אינו יכול למכור לפני שהם ברשות האב. מוכר האב מכורים עד שיומוס, מוכר הבן, אלא לא יקח בהם כלום עד שיומוס האב. So the Mishnah continues and says, in this case that we spoke in the Mishnah, someone was maknet his son, the gufa karka, and he left for himself his Paris, so they both can't totally sell the land. So if the father sold, and the reason is because each one, it's a bear in the rishus of the other person. So if the father sold, it's sold until, that means the customer could eat the fruit until he passes away, but once he passes away, it goes to the son. And if the son sold, the loikach doesn't get anything until the father dies, and then the loikach gets everything. Said the Gemara, B'chi katav ma'ayom v'lachar mita mai havi. Hotnan ma'ayom v'lachar mita get ve'no get. So the Gemara asks the kasha. We have a Mishnah that says, why are we saying that? Why did the help that you write Mayon Lachar Misa? We say it works now and it continues. For the goof and the Paris goes after Misa. Why we have a Mishnah that says about get that someone gives a get Mayon Lachar Misa, it's a sofek get. And if he dies and he has no kids and he has brothers, so you can't do Yibum because maybe it was a proper get and it's Eisha Sochiv. But Mitzat Sheni, she's no Motor Shashuk because maybe he didn't give a get and therefore you need Chalitza, but you can't do Yibum. So why is it different? The Chor, it's exactly like us. By us we say it's clearly it works for the goof, Lachar Misa, and from Paris it stays a father. And over there we have a Sofek. On that the Gemara answers, Ata Mesapkelan Itna Ve'ichazar Ave. אבל הכה, אחי כאמר לי, גופה קני מהיום, פרה לאחר מיתה. Says the Gemara, the difference is that by a get, we have a sofek. What's a sofek? Maybe with a condition, that means he said, I only want to get to Bichal when I die. Or maybe he was regretting and he's saying that, maybe it's at 9, he's saying that I want to get to Bichal when I'm die from today. Or maybe he's changing his mind and he's saying, no, I want to get to Bichal only when I die. And after a person dies, he can't give a get, and therefore it's not good get. But by us, where you have two parts for land, you have the actual ownership in the land, and you have the ownership for the fruits that come out the land. So it makes sense to split it. That means the land belongs to you from now, but the fruit only after I die, and therefore here we don't have a sofek, and we say it means that the goof is now yours and the Paris only after passes away. Rabbi Yosi Omer Eino Tzarich Rabba Baravua Chalash Al Legabe Ravuna veRav Nachman Amar le Ravuna le Rav Nachman Bai minei alacha keRabbi Yosi o en alacha keRabbi Yosi. אמר לי, טעמה דרבי יוסי לידן הלכה היא בואי מיני. אמר לי, את בואי מיני הלכה היא לא, וטעמה אנא אמין לך. So the Gemara says a story. Rabbi bar Rav Huna was ill. So Rav Huna and Rav Nachman went to visit him. So Rav Huna told Rav Nachman, ask him if we pass it in our Mishnah like Rabbi Yosi or not. So Rav Nachman told Rav Huna, I don't even know, I can't understand the reason of Rabbi Yossi. There's no time in Divrei Rabbi Yossi. You want me to ask him if I was locha like him or not? So Rav Huna told Rav Nachman, no problem. When we leave over here, I'm going to tell you the reason of Rabbi Yossi. You just ask if the halacha is like him or not. Continue the Gemara of the story. Boy mine, Amar le, Amar Achi Amar Rav, Alacha ke Rabbi Yossi, Bata denafku Amar le, Haynu Tama de Rabbi Yossi, Damar Zmano shel shtar mochiach alav. So the story continues and it says, so Rav Nachman asked him, and he asked Rabba Baravua, what's the din really? Who do we paskin like? So Rabba Baravua said, in the name of Rav, that we paskin like Rabbi Yossi. After they went out, so Rav Huna told Rav Nachman, now I'll tell you the reason. The reason of Rabbi Yossi is Shuzmanu shel shtar mochiach alav. If, when the person gave this present, all he meant to say is, and he didn't write Me'ayoim Lachar Misa. He meant only Lachar Misa. You wrote this is a Matona Lachar Misa. Why did you write a date in the shtar? Who cares when this happened? It's no significance when the shtar is written. So if there is a date in the shtar, it must be that he meant that it should start from today, even though they didn't write in the shtar from today, and it should only be chal for Peres Lachar Misa. And that's the time of Rabbi Yossi. Continue the Gemara. Tanya nami achi, Rabbi Yossi omer, enet tzarich mipnei shezmano shel shtar mochiach alav. A clear brisa that explains that the reason of Rabbi Yossi is, you know why it works even if you didn't write Me'ayoim, is because it has a date in the shtar. And if it doesn't mean from today, why does he have a date? It's no significance for us. Elomai means to say from today. By minei Rava mirav Nachman. Ba'akna mau. So Rava asked Rav Nachman a shaila. What's the din? In our Mishnah, we said that the Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, if he didn't write Me'ayoim, does it work or not? And we said that Rabbi Yehuda holds it doesn't work. So Rava asked Rabbi Nachman, what's the din if you wrote instead the shtar as a kinyan b'fnei atzmoi? But if you wrote in the shtar that they did a kinyan, well, in that case, will Rabbi Yehuda Moide, they don't need to write Me'ayoim in that case, since it says clearly that they did a kinyan, it must be that he was working from today onwards. Amar lei ba'akna eino tzarich. Papi Amar, Ike aknita de tzarich, ve'ike aknita de lo tzarich. So Rav Nachman answered Rava that if you wrote a kinyan clearly in the shtar, even Rabbi Yehuda agrees they don't have to write Me'ayoim and it works Me'ayoim Lachar Misa. But Rav Papi said, no, there is sometimes when you write a kinyan that you do need to write Me'ayoim, and there is sometimes you don't need, and the Gemara continues to explain. Akneh ve'kanina minei lo tzarich. Kanina minei ve'akneh tzarich. Meaning the Rashbam explains, if you wrote at the beginning, because normally you write a shtar, and at the end you finish off, you summarize all what's written in the shtar. If you wrote it in a lashon that's mashma tu kinyonim, so in that case, we take on that it means Me'ayoim, because you wrote the extra lashon. But if you just wrote as if it's the same kinyan, it's not good enough, and you have to write Me'ayoim, and otherwise it does not work לפי שיטת רבי יהודה. מתקיף לרב חנינא מסורא, מי כמידד ענן לא ידינן בספרי ידי? שאלונו לספרי דאביי וידי, לספרי דרבא וידי. The Gemara asked the kasha, Rav Chanina from Surah asked the kasha on this. You're telling me that there's a difference in the diuk of the Lashon Hashtar. Is there anything that we don't know? He says, I didn't know this difference, and you want to tell me the Soifrim who write the shtar know this difference, that this Lashon means this and this Lashon doesn't mean this? And the Gemara said that they actually went to ask the Soifrim, the ones who write the shtar of Abai, and they actually did know the difference, the Soifrim of Rava, and they did know the difference. So we can see the Soifrim knew the difference between these Lashonis. Rav Huna Breda Rav Yeshua Amar, Ben Akne ve'kanina minei, Ben kanina minei ve'akne lo tzarich. ובדוכרן פתגם דאבה באנפנה פליגי. So Rav Huna, the son of Rabbi Yeshua, says, not like we said before that there's a difference what Lashon of Kinyan he did. Doesn't matter what Lashon of Kinyan is written in the shtar, even Rabbi Yehuda admits that you don't need to write Me'ayoim and the Kinyan's chal Me'ayoim la'achar misa. But if it's written in the shtar that we were there and we memorized what happened over here, but it doesn't say a Lashon Kinyan, that's when they argue. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda says you do need to write Me'ayoim, and Rabbi Yossi says you don't need to write Me'ayoim. Amar Rav Kahana, Amrita Lishmaita Kamed Rav Zvid min Arda, Amar li Atun Achim Matniten La, Anan Achim Matniten La. Amar Rav Nachman Ba'akna, Ine Tzarich Ben Akna v'Kanina Minei Ben Kanina Minei v'Akna Lo Tzarich Beduchran Pitkame Da'ave Ba'anpa Pligi. So the Gemara said that Rav Kahana said this whole Gemara, this whole Shakla V'Tari that we just learned in front of Rav Zvid, who came from Naudor, and Rav Zvid told Rav Kahana, you learn it the way we just learned. That was a Shaila, Rav asked Rav Nachman told him over the whole Shakla V'Tari. We learned it different, clearly, as not like a whole Shakla V'Tari that Rav said in the name of Rav Nachman, in a case where it says a kinyan, that he did a kinyan in the shtar, even Rabbi Yehuda admits they don't need to write Me'ayoim. Doesn't matter if you use the Lashon of 2 kinyanim or 1 kinyan, it's always good. But if it says only like a Lashon Zikaron Beduchman Pitgami Da'ave Ba'anpana, that we remember what happened in front of us, that's when the Machloikis of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi applies, if you need to write Me'ayoim or not. הכותב נכסיו לבנו לאחר מותו. איתמר, מחר הבן בחייו, ומת הבן בחייו. So the Gemara goes back to the second case of the Mishnah that we said that if the father sold this in such a situation, when the father gave to his son the present, the gufa karka, but the Paris only becomes his after he passes away, and now, so we said the father who sells, it becomes a lekach only for Paris until he passes away, and the son who sold, it's nothing until the father passes away, and then it becomes a lekach. So the Gemara's shaila is, what's the din if the son sold it, and then before the father passed away, the son passed away, and now the father passes away. Does the loikeach get it or not? Because now the son's not there to give it over to the loikeach. Said the Gemara Daf Kuf Lamed Vav Amud Beis. Amar Rabbi Yochanan lo kana lokeach, v'Reish Lakish amar kana lokeach. Rabbi Yochanan amar lo kana lokeach, kinyan perot ki kinyan aguf dami, v'Reish Lakish amar kana lokeach, kinyan perot lav ki kinyan aguf dami. So the Gemara says, what's the din in such a shaila? The Gemara says it's a machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan says the loikeach won't be koina even when the father passes away, since the son died before the father. And Reish Lakish says the loikeach's koina. And the Gemara explains what's the machlokes between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. What's stronger in such a case when one has the ownership of the gufa karka, the son, and the other person, the father, has a kinyan of the Paris? What's stronger, the kinyan Paris or kinyan aguf? So Rabbi Yochanan, who holds that the loikeach is not koina, hold the kinyan Paris of the father stronger, and therefore if the son is not alive anymore when the father passes away, the son didn't have a big strength in this land, so he doesn't go over to the loikeach. And Reish Lakish holds no, kinyan Paris is not strong like kinyan aguf, and therefore kinyan aguf is stronger, and therefore the son had the strong hold in this kinyan. So if he sold it, even if he passed away before the father, now that the father passes away, he goes over to the loikeach. On that the Gemara asks a shaila, akasha, va'iflugu b'chad hazimna, de'itmar, המוכר שדהו לפירות, רבי יוחנן אמר מביא וקורא, וריש לקיש אמר מביא ואינו קורא. רבי יוחנן אמר מביא וקורא כסבר קניין פירות כקניין הגוף דמי, וריש לקיש אמר מביא ואינו קורא קניין פירות לאו כקניין הגוף דמי. So the Gemara asked the Shaila, why did Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish have an argument over here? They argued about this exactly Shaila, if kinyan aperis is kinyan aguf or not. In a different case, what's the case? If someone sold to his friend only the peris in the land, and now he has fruit, and we know that the mitzvah to bring bikurim, the first fruit that grows, you have to bring to Yerushalayim and say a whole parasha in the Beis Hamikdash, and part of the parasha is to say, Adama Ashenasatali, the land that he gave me. So Rabbi Yochanan says in such a case, the person who is koina the peris has kinyan peris, so he's a stronghold, like we said before. The kinyan peris, if you're Rabbi Yochanan, if you're kinyan aguf, and therefore he's a proper ownership, and therefore he has to bring bikurim and read the parasha Adama Ashenasatali because it's his. And the Reish Lakish says no, he has to bring it because it's still bikurim, you have to bring it, but you don't say Adama Ashenasatali because it's not his Adama, because kinyan peris lavki kinyan aguf. So why do they argue about it twice? And that the Gemara answers, Amar lecha Rabbi Yochanan, af al gav de ba'alma kinyan perot kekinyan aguf dami acha yitzrich, sal kadai tachamina, abba legabe brei, achu leachil kamash malan. Rabbi Shimon Lakish Amar, af al gav de ba'alma kinyan perot shlav kekinyan aguf dami acha yitzrich, sal kadai tachamina, kol legabe lenafshei, afilu b'mokom brei, nafshei adif alei, kamash malan. So the Gemara says the following teretz. You know why they needed to argue over here, says Rabbi Yochanan, even though that normally I hold that King Imperius is strong, but over here, who gave the son the Kinyan Aguf? The father, and it's giving to the son. So you might have thought, sorry, because it's the son, so the father's moichel on his strong Kinyan, they has a Imperius, and he's giving the strong ownership to his son. And in this case, Rabbi Yochanan will admit that if the son sold it and then he passed away before the father, when the father passes away, it goes to the loikech, because the father never kept by himself a strong hold. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan comes and says, no, don't think this way, and I argue even in a case of a father to the son. And Rish Lakish will tell you, no, I needed to argue also over here, because over here, over there in Bikurim, what's the case, the person Reuben sold to Shimon only Kinyan Peres. But over here, the father gave only Kinyan Aguf. So maybe since he had the full ownership of the father and he gave the guf and he had the right how much to give to his son, so maybe he gave him only a shvacha Kinyan Aguf, because for himself, even a father, even to his son, he cares about himself more and he wants to keep himself the strong ownership, so therefore he's keeping the main ownership by him. And therefore, if the son sold it and the son passed away first, so when the father passes away, maybe Rish Lakish will admit that the din that the loikach won't get it. Komash malon, no, even in this case, the father who sold it, since he gave him a tana, since he gave his son the Kinyan Aguf, he gave him full Kinyan Aguf, and therefore if the son sells it, even if he passes away before the father, when the father passes away, he goes to the loikach. We're going to finish over here because the next is part of the sugya on the next page. And I want to daven that we should be zoicha to understand the Gemara well, to remember it, to do chazara, and learn many other Gemaras. And b'schus our learning, it should be Torah Magnum Matzla, should save the soldiers in the north, in the south, b'chol mokim she'en, and protect every Jewish person who's nimtza beis tzara. Thank you very much, my friends.